think, yeah, okay, fine. Okay, so who asked the question again?
Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, so a use case is more like a reference point, but that's to simplify the answer to your question. But let me break it down. So when you're in a project and you're giving use case scenario to your clients many a times do not have clear understanding of the project implementation. You are the one that has the experience. You've worked with different clients on the same subject. You've done analytics for various clients. You know what a proper analytics environment or business intelligence data environment should look like. So you then provide them use case scenario to say, okay, this is use case one. This is how you can apply analytics in this department, and say, okay, I'm giving you a use case that has to do with providing transaction-based insights on customers, a use case that has to do with customer analytics. So I can say again that I'm just trying to explain in details what the use case is, but it's a reference point. That's just the answer. It's a reference point for your clients to project into your deliverables on a project. So your use case could be a model, and you could provide like a miniature or a caricature or a diagram of what the final deliverable would look like. So when drawing your project plan, you would indicate various use cases so that your clients can be able to see where the project is going to, and then be able to understand with you why you are putting certain timelines in those project plans. Do you understand? Is it clear to you now? Okay. Any other question before I go on?
Yes, please. So, like the project that Mr. Blessing gave to us on comparative analysis assessment of mobile banks app. So he said we should carry out in the industry use case. We should compare the bank that we're working with to other banks. So what you're saying now,
you should what? Compare what?
We should compare the mobile ability of the mobile banking app, the functions and assessments. We should just assess the bank's operations, the mobile bank's app's operations with that of some other banks. So in this case now, with what you said, we're supposed to compare, right? And we're supposed to like bring out details of so or some outside bank or some outside industry to show to our the client that we're proposing to that this is what you would get if you, I don't know, if you allow us to implement this project in your company, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
Okay, go on.
So in my own project, a proposal that I made, I had a sheet where I compared the bank's KPIs, the rates of downloads, their star ratings, content, all of that. So when he saw it, he said that that's not exactly what we should be presenting to the customer, because then the customer would already know what the project already can do, and so they probably don't need you much. So how do we pass our industry use case out to our clients without exposing every single detail? Because I believe the confidentiality has a role to play here as well.
Okay, I will answer your question, then the class will excuse me for a few minutes. I need to quickly give a feedback to someone. Okay, so what you should be particular about on a use case should be more of the features, not the metrics. So that's a generic project. That's not necessarily an analytics project, because it's asked you to look at the mobile app of various banks, right? And sorry, what did you say he asked you to do again on the mobile app? Maybe I didn't get that part well.
We should carry out the comparative assessment of mobile apps using their KPIs to check which bank is better than which one. And then we should pick a particular bank and to tell them to use their KPIs to optimize apps functions.
Okay, so that's good. From the sentence you just mentioned now, what is the goal of the project? What is the goal of what the project manager is trying to do? The goal, from what I can hear, is that it's trying to optimize app. So you want to optimize an existing app. So you must first of all know the goal attainment of that project. Now, once you know the goal, you can then look at what is a best case scenario. So for you to also know a best case scenario, all you need to do is to go out and review, just like on your project. When you're doing projects in school, you start off with an introduction, then you do a literature review. There's nothing new, right? So you need to find out what have others in the industry, what have they done, and then how can you improve on it. So for optimizing the mobile app, you're on a project to optimize the mobile app of a bank. So you need to know the features of mobile app. What are the features of mobile app, and what are the new features that other banks' mobile apps have provided or are providing, right? And then you pick the best features and present all those together to your client as a use case scenario. Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. But in that case, when you're putting that out to the client, that means you're already telling the client what to do. Like you're already telling them the things you want to do. So they might as well just, shut out your project and then do it in-house. I don't know if you get it, because Mr. Blessing was
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So
exactly because
that
yeah.
happens most of the times. That happens most of the times.
Yeah,
Now,
so my question is, how do we do this to maintain our confidentiality while proposing our?
exactly. Now you also just answered. Before you get on a project plan with a client, you would have signed a confidentiality agreement with the client. So those are part of the process documents that we sign with our clients before we go into details of implementation with them. You understand? So for every project, there must be a goal. You can't get on a goalless project. You must know what you want to achieve. You must know where you are going to. If you don't know what you want to achieve, your project plan will be elusive. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So for every project, there must be a goal, and that goal must be in agreement. You would have reviewed. So when you draw a project plan, you review it also with your stakeholders, with your clients. You must get them informed. They must agree to it. You understand? And when all this is agreed to, then the project kicks off. So there is a project kickoff time. You understand? Though this project plan is also subject to change. Oh. It's not like as if it's rigid, but there's a working plan that everyone is aware of and working with. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Please excuse me.
Okay, you bet. I'm just sure what
Okay.
she said clearly. She said that we're presenting this proposal to like, is it when I'm going to sign the confidentiality agreement after the project after the project has been.
I think, yeah.
That was
No,
actually my question too.
no, this is
I
how,
think okay.
can I, okay, go ahead. Okay.
Yes, you can go ahead, please.
Okay, what I think is that obviously you've not met them before. You've not met this company before. You only told them that you'd like to come and pitch a proposal to them. So you go ahead, you put a proposal together, and the proposal should be generic. I think that she said that a lot. Should generic, and you shouldn't like be too specific with detail. Right? You don't go ahead to tell them that you're going to use Hadoop or you're going to use R, or you don't tell them the method with which you're doing it. But you should just find a way to make it be like, okay, I'm going to put this data together. You don't need to know how I'm putting data together. You feel me? So when they now like they like the outcome of the, because you tell them, you give them the general overview of the project. When they now like what the project sounds like, they could be like, oh wow, we like this. We would like more detail. This also happens in the commercial analysis, where you don't show them the breakdown of the amount of money for each individual units of the critical part of the project or task and all that. You just give them a general overview. So when they now like it, that's when you now bring the non-disclosure agreement for everyone to sign. So when they are done signing that, that's when you now bring in the details. Because once they've agreed to non-disclosure and also non-practice without your permission, I think there should be something like that. They wouldn't go ahead to practice what you're going to tell them without, because obviously if they do it, you're going to know. You feel me? So yeah, I think that's the point. After you've enticed them with your proposal and your pitch, that's when they sign the non-disclosure, and then that's when you give them the detailed description of the project.
Okay, so
That,
in essence, what
Sounds
you are saying is that when you are submitting a proposal, you shouldn't add use case scenarios, right? Because there's no
not
how you want to fit a use case scenario and
exactly.
then you not like paint the end picture.
Exactly. So what I wanted to ask Madam Ope was that if she could just put us through a prototype at the end of the class today, maybe when she's done teaching, and if she has any use case that she has worked on, she could just show us, because I didn't really follow Mr. Blessing's use case methods. So maybe she could have
okay.
another one that make it clearer to us.
Okay,
Actually, looking at the
so
first class that Mr. Blessing did, and
Yeah.
if actually I'm going to go by what he said, which is actually what use case should be, it's just like in your proposal now. Okay, fine, you're now telling them, this is what I've done concerning, if not even not really 100% about the project, but at least 70% concerning the project. This is what I've done about around this project before, one, and this is the result that we're able to produce for that organization. So when Ms. Oko was saying that a reference point, so that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, let me refer to one thing I've done about this project before, which is this kind of project proposal. And after we implement this proposal, this is what the result of what we got. So even that use case is not showing any details about your project actually. It's just letting them know that okay, I have an experience in this kind of project before, and this is the result of what I got when I use this kind of project proposal.
Okay. Now, if
That
just
Yeah.
in the
makes more
explain
sense.
that is
Yeah.
fair exactly, and that also
Students,
keeps the description away, and you just I get what you said,
So
Tony.
so like
students for
what
more.
you did, Hubert, like what we did now, whereby you were showing the this thing, you're already showing them the real work. Like this is what I
Exactly.
can do.
I
So and
feel
it's not
you.
supposed to be like that. This is okay.
Yeah,
This is what I've done before, and this is the result
yeah.
without showing any data. This is the result of what
You
I
know, you
did.
know what,
Well,
you know what, guys. When you check Octave websites, you see on their websites what you've done in the past. So imagine you want to do something like customer certification for your bank now. Can you just tell them, oh, in the past you've done this for this particular bank, maybe like FCMB. They want to do it for GT Bank, and just show them these are past use cases in this particular. Maybe you can just go on the website, you see what I'm talking about. I'll just share the link on the chat. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, thanks, guys.
It's, it's,
I
more,
really
it's not like your PS portfolio, but that's
yeah.
really what you want to implement.
Okay. Anyways, I really enjoy these brainstorming moments we have. Like
So in
things.
essence, in
Yeah.
our proposal, we are supposed to just do a makeup reference because you've never done any. Just say you don't want
Yeah,
before. Is that what
exactly.
you're saying?
Exactly. It could just be
exactly.
like
Maybe,
we
Exactly.
implemented
no,
this
Hubert,
particular
sorry,
program in Bank, and then they had
maybe,
their So
I
improvement and
think
all
to
of
address
that.
your question, if you have done it before, maybe you're working Octave now. You might make reference to your use case in the complaint, but you have not done it before. You can use other people's use cases, maybe PwC, Deloitte. Like this is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what I'm going to do for you. So if you don't have, if that was a project in your portfolio, can you make reference to other projects now? Like this is how it looks like. This is what they did. This is the time that they use. These are the stuff they use. Just for them to understand what you want to do.
Sorry, guys. You guys have actually said a lot, but I just want to go back a little. The what exactly is the goal? Because from what I was able to understand from Mr. Bless in the last class, is like the goal of the project is just the analysis, the comparative analysis. We are not sort of suggesting any sort of improvement to the app, because if you don't have the comparative analysis yet, you cannot probably suggest a sort of improvement. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So it's like the goal of the project per se is just the comparative analysis on its own.
What's
See,
about is
that's why personally, I didn't really enjoy the topic of that project because I feel like
No, actually,
that's
that assignment he gave to us is more like, okay, it's not the proposal is not really a developing proposal. It's just that, okay, they have the app already. Okay, but now this is COVID period. What can we do to improve our app in order for us to be able to generate revenue? So that, I think, it's just the way they construct the topic that is making look, because for me it's looking like more of a sentiment analysis for me, as in what they want. Because what they want is, okay, help us check GTB, check Post Bank. What is it that we are lacking? How can you even say what is the engagement? What are the things? That's what I think
I think
that
it's
comparison is
actually
talking about.
close to
So
Okay,
you
what you are
spoke my
saying.
mind. You spoke
But
my
once
mind because okay, okay,
Based
let
on
me
what
go
Sunday,
ahead.
based on what Sunday is saying, you have already done the analysis to know that they will need this thing in their app. But
No, the
if you
project
remember when
is
Mr.
that you will
Blessing,
start.
no,
The
it's
project
just
is that you will
what you
start
will do.
doing it for them. You would like you start doing the project, the comparative analysis. Whatever you get from your results, you give it to them. They will improve their app. Then you do it. You do analysis, the comparative analysis again. It's like an
Thank you
ongoing
very
development,
much. Thank you.
like an ongoing developing process. Because most apps, when I did my own analysis, look, most apps they have version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. Some apps have even, some banking apps have gotten to version 5. Something like GTB have done version 5 of their own app already because they are doing continuous improvement. So is that what will generate that parameter for their continuous improvement is what we are going to give them. So it's basically sentimental analysis and some other metrics, differentiation, metrics checking, comparison. But what to analyze and what you analyze, what the analysis to generate is what we are not going to give them.
yeah, but that means that's the output of the project now. That analysis on its own is just the output.
Okolie, once I've noticed is in projects, you don't have one fit for all approach. The approach of each project is not the same. So the method you use for this project might not be the same as what you use for the other. Some you might need to use use cases, some you might not just use it. So you need to understand the dynamics of the project you want to undertake first before you
Sorry,
begin to.
let me chip something in. Okay, like what Richard was saying, I went to their website now. They did a demand forecast for MTN. Now maybe I want to do something like maybe entirely different or something kind of relative to that for Glow. Now I can actually use this demand forecast. Okay, maybe Glow wants to do let's say they want to see what okay, you want to pitch a project, a proposal to them that okay, I can actually help you do it in form of a way whereby people will now be looking for your network in the market. Like I have a model that can actually help you to forecast how people will be demanding for your product and services. Now you can actually use this one as your use case because you've done something like that, maybe relative to that or even entirely different. Now, of course, now what they want to see in a use case now is what they put here in their own website. They have the demand forecast, the name of the project proposal, and they have the objective. Now, the next thing you have to show them, I think you have to show them in a use case is the result of that thing. And they said the churn management program applied on the potential customers succeeded in reducing the churn rate by 18.3 and generating 19.6 incremental revenue. So that is what you are trying to use a use case for, is just to let them know that, okay, I've done this kind of thing before. This is the result, a positive result we could able to get. Like in other use case is just a reference point, and also to convince your client that you know what you are doing. Number one, you are capable of this task. Number two, and this proposal I'm giving to you is going to actually add to your organization. Number 3. I think that's what use case should be.
Pat,
Yeah,
thank you very much. I'm
Wait,
very, very
yeah.
clear. Very clear. But I wanted to,
to elaborate on this.
from what Richard said, because Sunday said that from one
I just,
extent, you're going to give like results from your previous works. But Sunday also said that you could also reference other companies that have carried out that particular project that you've done before. Because I think you mentioned that PwC doing something similar.
yeah.
So you could also do that. The major thing is to entice your client with the result and not the
Exactly.
process. Just the results, not the process.
Okay, now,
I
so
think
let me
that
elaborate more on this. I think in use cases, you have to type. We have internal and external. So now you might have done the projects internally, then you can make reference to it. But sometimes it might be internal, it might be external. Let me give you a particular example now. Okay, now one of the best performing states in terms of tax revenue generation is cardinal states. So now maybe you want to tell Lagos state governments like, oh, you guys need to do better because cardinal state went from 24 billion to 44 billion. So you might make someone has done in cardinal states because okay, now you're telling the state government like I can double your revenue generation by 100% in a year. How is that possible? So now make reference to what they've done in cardinal states. But you're not the one that did the project actually, but you're just telling that it's possible for you to achieve it using their method. So that's an external use case. So now maybe after you've done it for Lagos states, it's already in your portfolio. You now have to go back to Imo states. That means it's already your internal use case. I don't know if you guys get what I'm talking about. So your use case might be internal or external, but it must be applicable to the project.
Yeah, I can go.
Hello, guys. So what is the title of this project? Someone just sum it up. I just want to get the goal from there outright. What is the title? Let me know.
He said comparative assessment of banks, but if it is comparative assessment of banks, mobile app, online mobile app or something like that, then that means you are taking a particular bank. Maybe I want to Access Bank. Now, Access Bank, you are lagging behind in this kind of, okay, you want to see that, okay, fine, okay, let me put it this way. Now, you now carry GT, UBA, and First Bank. These banks, their app are doing greatly, very well. Now, you want to compare it with Access Bank, whereby you want to help them you want to pitch a proposal to. Now, these 3 banks that you have, that their app is working very well, what is making it to work well? That is what you have to look into. What can you do for Access Bank that will make these other 3 apps that you know about, that you can make it launch, the Access Bank app you want to develop, you can make it much more better. So we are not doing comparison that, okay, Access Bank, this is your app beside all these 3 apps is kind of, I think, awkward. Okay, I think this is what they are doing, number 1. And this is what I can do in order to improve your own mobile app more than these 3, in order for us to increase your revenue. I don't know whether you get my point.
I think I get you, madam. I think when our Kwe is trying to say something, I think she said now.
Okay.
Sure.
I've been listening to you guys, and I like the way you are all brainstorming ideas together, and that's the way to work. That's the future of work. Work is shared. Okay, so when you share ideas, when you brainstorm this way, you get results. And I think someone just asked a succinct question that what is the goal of the project? From what I've heard you guys say, from the question you have been asked to solve, it appears to me like the goal of the project is to, in one word, optimize an app. Don't take my word for it. Go back to the drawing board and, you know, go back to the drawing board and ideate in the sense that come up with several goals, like okay, come up with like 10 goals, and then look for that one goal that kinds of sums everything together. You understand? So even if you are to optimize the app, what are those things you want to optimize? Do you want to optimize the process? Do you want to optimize the features? Do you want to optimize the look and feel? Or do you want to, like, for me, for some mobile apps, they are just too complex. It might just be, the optimization might just to be to make it simpler to use. That's an optimization. Like, don't put too many things in the face of the customer. The customer gets on the mobile app and the customer is lost. Just make it simple and clean. You understand? Simple, clean, fresh. Optimization has to do with process, in the sense that, okay, um, the process is slow, or maybe there are so many downtimes with the app. We need to look internally and fix the issues with the app. But that's more of internal. But the external one could be with the look and feel, the simplicity of the app, the features of the app. Maybe you just feel like, this app is just too old, it's too antiquated. Why is it not having nice features like face recognition? It's not like as if that's going to make money for the bank, but is indirectly it will. You just, let's spice up the app. Let's make it, look more modern instead of looking conventional. We don't want a conventional app. We want something gang, things like that. So everything around optimizing the app. So when you brainstorm, different ideas come up, like, okay, we want to optimize it this way. So that might not necessarily be like a full analytics project, but the end goal would also drive analytics, because once the app is optimized, you can then you can then use that to drive insight that, okay, the optimization of the app has led to more customers using the app, and more revenue, you understand, for the bank. And this is the comparative analysis of what it was before and what it is now. Okay, so that's what I have to say. But well done, well done. And all these are subject to review. You can agree to a meeting time. If I will advise you guys, whenever you have projects that has to do with teamwork like this, agree to a meeting time. Form a quorum. Everybody may not necessarily show up for the meeting, but at least once you have like half to three-quarter of the class, you can come together to a meeting time and brainstorm on ideas like this. When you brainstorm together, it makes it very creative, because we all have different look to a problem, or to solving a problem. So when people come up with different ways of solving problems, it makes it more rich, and then more full of variety. So come up with your results and then review with whoever has given you that assignment, and see if, yes, you are giving him what he wants or not. Okay, any comments before we get on with the things I want to do with you today?
I think you can get on with it.
What did you say?
I think you can get on with it.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so from my last class with you, I gave you an assignment, an individual based assignment. How many of you did it? I want us to review that in this class, and then I'll also share with you some project management models. But I need that assignment first. So you can just share your screen and show me what you have done.
Hello, is everyone still there? I don't know. Or is it my network? Can't hear it anymore.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Who wants to
Okay.
go first?
I swear I can't find my document anymore. I'm looking for it.
Check your sent. If you submitted it, check your sent folders in your mail.
Okay, I think I'll go first. Okay. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yeah, we can. We can. Just.
Okay. Okay. So the first question was to identify an industry and describe a scenario requiring data analytics projects. Okay, so for a while now, I've been wrapping my head about using analytics in a church-based environment. So that's what I used for my case here. So what I put in my assignment was Redeemed Church of God, a River of Life Parish, is a church with more than 1,000 members. And they might not really define big data, but then it's something at least. Okay. And I said, including men, women, and children, and different families really represented in the church. And the church is working on giving incentives to our members desperately in need and especially affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. And not just that, they're also looking towards checking growth analysis in the church. So that was the case study, and the sector is religious organization. And then what I looked at was the second question was to enumerate 3 analysis use cases.
Sorry, Daniel. There's someone in the lobby trying to come in. Please, can you have me see the person?
Oh, okay. I've seen him. Why is Toby just coming? Sorry, how
I
many
think
are
she
we supposed to be? I thought we're 10. Are we 11?
She was in the class. I think she let go.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, go on.
Okay, so second was to enumerate 3 use cases that we can actually use to achieve the goals for the project. So since my use case was centered around getting almost like getting members profiling, that was the major getting profiling members of the church to know who is majorly affected by the pandemic and who is. So, right from database of the church, that was the first case, member profiling. Cases, since should like to do more. So growth analysis, how they've been doing so far, and a projection of how they will do over time, taking into consideration technique and other things. So that's also, and then the third would be a predictive basket case for that's what church would like, what members of the church would like to see in the church services church services and offerings. Now, what I mean here was that some churches actually do have something like a school. Some churches offer crèche services to members of the church. Some churches do something like cooperative loan. So some churches actually have organizations actually have a lot of offerings aside just being a religious institution. So I was looking at that to see predictive market analysis for the church. So then the third question was to brainstorm possible data sets that's different data. So for member profiling, I put that okay, we need their names, birth dates, age group in order to profile them very well. Then, since we're going to be looking at families case, we also need family name. So to group them, then occupation of the person, their monthly tithes. The monthly tithes give you their overall look. It give you look at their overall income. Since we know that it is something like 10%, sorry, of their overall income. Then social media profiles to see, okay, can do sometimes on Twitter, on church page, that. Then church profile, the dates, different programs that have been ongoing. Then that's majorly for the growth analysis. Different programs that are ongoing, the amount, number of people, number of children, men, number of the total offering. If it's a special program, you should see, okay, if special program of is comes in, is it going to influence the number of people that actually come to church and or the offering given? Then also social media database to see, okay, from social media database, we're taking the number of likes, followers, comments, the reach or impression. Reach or impressions is most like apart from the people that commented, that are actively following this page, other people that maybe friends of friends, or other people that the program advertisements or the posts got to, that are not really following, actual followers of the this is also a very trick. So those are the um, data that I could wrap my head around while doing that. And then I now we are able to make assumptions. Okay, looking at this data and data that I've given, what are the can make so that total number of people attending church program or viewing the church program is usually higher during special programs. That's because most times during special programs there's more publicity for the program. Then the total number of individuals, that's if I said we're going to do family grouping. So that I have family individuals, I have more, you have a lower tithe average. Number of family with higher individuals have lower tithe average. That's because I think it's considered that if they have more children, the average, when you sum the tithe together, the average is low when they're individual. Then when have midweek services, so it will not be easy for them to bring children to service, and then total offerings are higher due to total number of likes are higher on Sundays than big days. And then those that are living far from the church actually spend more and they give less to the church services. That's basically what I have. I was trying to think of something. I've not seen what. Thank you very much.
Well done, well done, well done. A clap for you. Well done. Thank you. I like the fact that you took out a kind of industry that we don't usually go to for analytics project, and then you made a lot of sense from it. Even though I don't agree with some of your fictitious insights of your assumptions, yeah. Your tithes may not necessarily have to do with the number of children. It might have to do with your earnings. So I don't know if you're picking up data that has to do with earnings and highest level of education. Those are some very key data variables. Remember, we talked about variables in that class. Those are some very key data variables we look at. So for every industry, my comment on that is that for every industry, there are key data variables that you must not miss out when doing your analytics or when thinking through your analytics use cases, right? So for an industry like the church, like the religious body you just mentioned now, the number of worshippers, right? The number of worshippers at every meeting, at every event is a key variable. You understand? For some other industry, for banking now, the number of customers that they have, right, is a key variable. So those are the demographics of their customers is a key variable. Anything that has to do with data around their customers are key variables. So those are some of the key things you must know, because if you miss out those key variables, your assumptions, your predictions, your insights might just be filled with many flaws and mistakes. You understand? And that's why you also need to have stakeholder engagements and get this information from them, because those are the kind of people that will point to you that, oh, you need to also take note of some important variables that must be part of your analysis or analytics. Thank you. Next person. I thought you guys did not do the assignment, but I'm happy with what I saw. Why didn't you then submit?
We submitted, ma'am.
I submitted.
Submitted.
I submitted.
We
Oh,
submit
to Emmanuel.
certification,
Yeah.
Certification
Yeah, we
and
all need to submit.
certification at Octave. That's where we submit our assignments to.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't get it, and I didn't remember to ask though. But I was thinking if there was any, it would have come to my mail. But I didn't get anything on my mail. Okay, next person.
Uh, so I've gotten hands on my own. Can I share?
Sure, please.
Okay.
But please make it snappy. I'll give each of you 3
Okay.
to 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll try to rush as much as I can. Okay, so the first question that we should pick an industry case. So I studied oil and petroleum and gas engineering. So I picked a case from the oil and gas industry. It's drilling cost losses incurred by oil and gas firms. So now firms to drill an oil well could cost like $20 million to $1 billion, and in cases where they drill these holes, they drill the wells, and then there's no oil at the bottom of the well. That means the company has lost all this money at once. So what's the way to curb down these losses and to help companies to reduce the way that they lost money to drilling dry holes is what my project is all about, with this particular analytical all about. So I went ahead to choose analytical use cases, the cases where we use to probably reduce this particular problem. So I talked about information profiling from seismic data. So seismic data is just is a sort of data where they use some megaphones, sorry, not megaphones, some equipment to send waves down the earth, and then it comes back, and then there's some. I don't want to go into too much technicalities here, but they just find a way to create a computerized visualization of formations. So there's a way we could find a way to profile different formations using seismic data, using our computer and our programming to optimize the visualization of underground formations to understand better which formation we possibly have or which formation we do not have based on configuration and structures and all of that. Then my next analysis was comparative analysis of the seismic data. So now we could compare seismic data of different locations where drilling was successfully done to an oil zone where they actually saw oil, and areas where there was no oil. So if we see that a seismic data that we conducted at a particular region is, marking or matching one that has no oil in it, we most likely might not venture to drill in that particular location. So another one to do is to conduct real-time analysis during drilling. So now, if we've gone ahead to start drilling, and then we conduct seismic data to understand what's going on the ground while we're drilling already. Since if you notice my last time I said we could reduce the drilling cost from 100% to 20% to 20% to 25%. So my analytics use cases were real-time data analysis, comparative analysis, and formation profiling. So the next thing was to pick up different data that we could use to understand this. So I chose seismic wave travel time, velocity. All these are really technical terms. Sonic logs, megaphone logs. Now, the major thing about these data is to find a way to match them and compare them with other successful wells and unsuccessful wells in the same region around the same oil field. Okay, yes. So once you're able to conduct comparative analysis of these data, it will be easier for you to understand better and predict better while carrying out the sentimental analysis. So another thing was that our assumptions on the relationship between one variable. So my next one, first of all, nearby wells survey can be correlated with seismic data and all of that. Anyways, I don't want to spend so much time. I think I've spent more than 3 minutes already. What I was trying to say down there was that we could compare one log to another because they are all related. All right, in the same information, you could get different kind of data. So when you match them individually, all right, to a particular region, you'll be able to understand better what is going down under the formation because there's no way we can know what is happening underground unless we dig it. So the best way to dig wisely is to dig with wisdom and dig with better insight. And this is why we should apply big data analytics to this particular project. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you too. Well done. Nice one. Yeah, I picked a few key points, and because I liked those key points. You mentioned that we need to do analytics to determine to determine based on previous drilling wells that are likely to be successful or unsuccessful, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's nice. And that's a clear use case for every industry because drilling, incurs a lot of cost, so that's like a saving cost to say, okay, let's put together all these metrics and let us tell you if there's likely to be oil in this well, or even to be able to determine the extent to which you find oil in this well. That's fine, but I'll point out a few things. There's something about your data. Go to your data permission, your variables. Now, yes, stop here. So there's something about your data. Your data needs to be atomic. Atomic in the sense that it should speak to a clear data point. When you say log, when you say mod log, gamma ray log,
Okay.
it appears to me like it might be okay. So to make this clear, you might need to indicate your data type. Your mod
Yeah.
log, is it an integer type? Is it a string type, or probably
Okay.
is
That's why. Sorry, that's why I didn't go too much into this. These are permission evaluation methods. They just read the like gamma ray log. It reads the radioactivity of formations with depth. Okay, so it just brings out but it sends in radioactive elements into the formation, and then the responses are read back by some sensors. So it
in
just
what
reads that.
measure? What's the unit of the measurement?
I think it's usually in integers. It's in integers, but then you can also
Is
it
in
also has
integer.
this integers. Yeah, integers basically integers.
Okay.
But
And
the same information you could send in ray logs. You could send sonic log only deals with sounds. So information that has water in it will not sound the same way information doesn't have water in it with
okay,
sound.
so sonic
So
log that is dealing with sound is in what is
yeah,
the unit of measurement for it?
I think decibels sound now. I think
Decibel.
I think so.
Okay. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's fine
Yeah.
because the unit of measurement is what determines. Now, if it's in if it's in pictures, if it's in visuals, then you might be storing that data in a converted form. You understand? So for instance, now I know that things that has to do with seismic data. Seismic data might be in form of pictures. Like, am I right or
Yeah.
wrong? I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, once you've created, you could create pictorial diagrams from your seismic data, seismic data. But most seismic data is just like waves, frequency, velocity of waves, and all of that. That's why I broke them down. The velocity,
Okay.
the time. Okay, some formations reflect waves faster than others. So some formations, harder formations reflect faster than softer formations. So
Okay.
there's just
So the good thing is that data analytics can be applied across industry, and that's why we need someone who understands data very well, and then that can also relate with the knowledge of the domain. So You might not necessarily be in that domain, but you might need to read wide, you might need to research to understand what is going on in that domain. I am able to tell you a few things because I've read and I have an idea of what they do in oil and gas. Though that's not my own domain, you understand? So when as a data analytics you're coming into an industry, you need to collect their data in atomic form and you must know the unit of the measurement. You understand? So that's just what I'm trying to get at on your variables. You understand? And if the unit of measurement is not in a form that is good enough for analytics, then all you just need to do is to convert it. So you can convert your pictures, you can convert your sounds into variable values of integer values of zeros and ones, right? So that's deep analytics. Anyway, we are not going into that now, but it has to be converted into a form that it can be used for or consumed by analytics models. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you very
Next
much
question.
for your contribution as well. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go next now. Let me share my screen.
I think we might not do for everybody today. Maybe we'll just do for half of the class because of time. I still want to share one or two models with you before the end of the class. Go on.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, I'll be talking about FMCGs. That's fast moving consumable goods. And the first use case I'm checking is sales forecasting and stock optimization in supply chain with machine learning. Even and they don't know that. So that is just to pitch it to them that fine. I have a model that can help you know when you have an out.
So I can hear you clearly.
I can't hear him either.
I think the network is bad.
Yeah, his network is bad. It's breaking. I think someone else should take over the stage.
Okay, let me go next then. I'll share my screen.
Okay.
See my screen?
No, I can't see your screen yet.
I see some.
Yes, I can see your screen now.
Okay, so I'll be talking about tax administration. So just to give you a general overview of what it looks like, Nigeria budget for 2020 was 10.8 trillion naira, and the federal internal tax store was collect 8.8 billion. But according to the former DG, that's to the Fowler of FIRS, they only need to collect just 5.5 trillion naira. So if we, based on my research, if we implement analytics, we should be able to come up with a figure and use some of the use cases I was able to get from other countries like Canada and Singapore. So, for example, one of their major problems in tax collection, one of their major problems is tax collection. So that's filing and payments compliance. Because sometimes most of the people when they are doing their tax assessments, they might worth 10 million, but they will declare their 5 million naira in the worth. So that way they won't be able to collect enough tax. And again, tax compliance. Most people don't pay their tax, especially people in the informal sector. Those are the people in the markets and uneducated population. So you can use analytics for tax filing and compliance. Second case is analytics for policy evaluation. Okay, now let's talk about VAT. If you notice, alcohol is banned in Kano and it's not banned in other places in Nigeria. So now, why should I be collecting? Why should I be using tax to develop Kano for alcohol? So if you are able to analyze our data, our database of tax, we should be able to come up with policy evaluation that will inform decision by the government, because most people in government don't really know what is going on. So if we use analytics for policy evaluation in tax, that should be to help us. The other one is tax analysis for taxpayer management. So we discovered so many companies owe tax in Nigeria, but there is no record. The database of the companies are not being looked into. So if we implement analytics for debt management, I'm able to have some insights. Okay, so based on my assumptions, then personal income and sector variable shows that informal sector is the highest tax. They have the highest tax evasion rates. That shows that people in the informal sector, they have the highest number of people that are not paying tax. So if you want to there's units in tax administration called enforcement. So if you want to do tax enforcement now, you don't need to focus on the corporate sector. You should focus more on the informal sector, because they have the highest tax evasion rates based on analysis that we carried out in some other states. Another one is tax return and companies shows that small scale industry has the lowest tax return. That shows that people in the small scale industry, they have a low tax filing. The last one is tax income, that shows high worth individuals with particular network pays tax regularly, but they pay low than the assessment. So for example, now maybe someone that is close to maybe the president, instead of him to declare maybe like 10 billion, he might declare 5 billion. So that way government is losing money because they don't do the right tax assessments. So I believe if we use analytics, we'll be able to cover this and we're able to make more money.
No, I think you should still leave your screen, or someone else wants to share it. Hello?
Okay, I'll leave it.
Yeah. I want to make a few comments.
Okay, it's fine now.
Well done, nice job. I like the diversity of the assignment. I've seen religious, I've seen oil and gas, now tax, so it's quite an interesting one to me. Thank you. And I like the fact that you all understand the components of an analytics project, because I can see that reflecting what you have been asked to do. Even though I always try to make my questions very descriptive. So I'm sure you took a clue from all the instances I gave in that question, and then you did what you were asked to do. Well done. I can't see your screen now.
I'm not saying, okay, you can call me.
Okay, so while you are trying to share your screen, these are the main goals these are the things I'm trying to get at. You mentioned the problems that people don't pay their tax. Most of those who pay their there's really no measurement for the informal sector for paying tax and stuff like that. But what are the goals? What are those things you are trying to drive at in your analytics project on tax management?
So first is once I would like to categorize according to region, like which region are paying less number of tax. Like we have six region in Nigeria. So if you take our data set, we're able to break down.
No, because of time. Your
Okay.
goals, remember in the class, I said they
Oh,
are
okay.
towards cost, towards either you're reducing costs, you're increasing revenue, or you're
Okay.
optimizing a process. So your goals is usually around those areas. So what are those goals that you're trying to drive at for
My
tax
goal is
management in this case?
okay. My goal is to increase tax collection in Nigeria because currently last year we collected 5.5 trillion. I'm supposed to collect 8.8 according to the projection. So if you implement all this strategy, you should be able to increase the number of tax collectors in Nigeria. So that's the goal, to increase tax collection by revenue.
Okay, thank you. You should always ensure that your analytics project plan highlights your clear goals. Because the businessman or your stakeholder does not understand all the jargons you are putting together in your project plan. The first thing you will go for is how does this project benefit me? What is the what is the benefit of this money that we want to put in for this project for us? You understand? And if you're able to highlight this and somehow it ties into his own KPI or into his own deliverables, he would be more than willing to get you on board. But if he does not, if you are just picking all the technical terms and putting together all the things you like to do, he would not easily succumb to it. You understand? Thank you. Next person.
Thank you for the review. Thank you.
Next person.
Okay. I'm sorry for the other time. This Sunday.
Okay. You have a stable network now, right? You can share your screen. Let me try my phone.
Okay, I can go ahead. It's, can I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, so okay, so mine was a bit concise because I had mine in just a page. Sorry. So can you see my screen now? Is my screen visible, please?
Not
Yes,
yet.
you can.
Huh?
Okay, I can see your screen.
Maybe she rotates your skin.
Okay, is it visible now?
It's visible, but can you zoom out?
Okay.
Try rotating your screen in the landscape.
Let your skin landscapes you better.
Right now. Is it better now?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I took an oil and gas industry case. I took a case of a firm, an oil and gas firm, who wants to optimize oil and gas production, oil and gas in large production from an oil and gas well. And I made a comparative analysis of different models that can be done. Because today, most companies are trying to produce, most oil firms are trying to produce oil and gas in large quantity. So one of the parameters in producing this oil and gas in large quantity to look out for is the well-bore deliverability. That's knowing the difference between the bottom hole pressure and the wellhead pressure. So I don't know if I could explain it a bit further, but when we talk about a normal well, when you drill, we have to ensure that the pressure of the well or the pressure of the reservoir has to be considerably larger than the pressure of the wellhead. So I also took a case of, for the models, I took a real scenario for different wells and their inclination. There are some wells that are perfectly vertical, and there are some wells that are inclined to some degree. So I took 3 different models: Kulenda and Smith, Soka and Cornell, average TNZ method to analyze the durability of these wells. So that's the industry I used, and that's the scenario I attempted for this assignment. Okay. Other industry use case was okay. Other industry use case I looked at in the oil industry was analyzing the gas oil body durability. That's the assignment. The analyzing data from seismic surveys. So whenever you want to drill a well, the first thing you have to carry out is a seismic survey to know whether your oil is in economic quantity. So just like Hubert said, so that you don't drill and waste money on drilling without getting a commercial value from this drilling. So when you use your geophones or your hydrophones, depending on the location of where your well is, if it's offshore or onshore, whenever you use your, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so whenever you're doing your surveys, you take out data, just like Hubert said, you analyze this data and know whether there's oil in economic quantity, so you don't just waste money on drilling as well. Okay, another industry use case is inspecting oil and gas equipment for standard use. So most times, whenever you use your cranes, whenever you use your equipment on the site, they tend to wear and tear over time, or they tend to just lose value. They tend to lose their integrity over time. So most times you could use different type of testing, the ultrasonic testing as well, to take out data from this equipment from a long time, from previous when you began using this equipment, and after a while you take data of this particular equipment to know whether this equipment is wearing and requires corrective maintenance to ensure that your operations are up to standard. So that's another industry use case you can use for data analytics. So brainstorming on the data set, I actually went to a journal and I took real life data to analyze for this gas well body deliverabilities. I took basically for this assignment, what I did was I took fixtures data sets. I wanted to use models to actually find out the flowing bottom hole pressure and the static bottom hole pressure from the data set. Then I wanted to use it to compare the real flowing bottom hole pressure and static bottom hole pressure. What I mean is I use these models to derive. I use these models to create formulas to determine the flowing bottom hole pressure and the static bottom hole pressure with the this wellhead pressure, the specific gravity, the well depth, the diameter, the reservoir temperature. Then this flowing, in this my parameter here, you see that I have the flowing bottom hole pressure and the static bottom hole pressure. When I use my models to calculate it, I'll compare the results with this actual flowing bottom hole pressure and the static bottom hole pressure to know the difference. If the difference is very close, I will know that this model is actually good for this type of well, say a completely vertical well, and I know that this model is actually good for an inclined well. So after that, I made the fixtures assumption that the Soka and Cornell, I didn't actually put down the three methods, the three models I used, but I assumed that the Soka and Cornell was a better model for analyzing the gas wall body variabilities of this world. Sorry for the whole technical terms. I think that's all for that, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's fine to use technical terms. There's no problem with that. It's just that you need to understand your audience and right to speak to your audience. So fine, if you're speaking with your technical stakeholders, you can go on with the technical terms. But if you're speaking with the business guys, maybe the likes of the CEO or the COO, the Chief Operations Officer, and like that, they may not necessarily understand your technical terms. So just strike a balance, maybe in your presentation. Okay, it's good. I like the fact that you pointed out your goals on the analytics project, which is always very important. And I'll stop here for today. In the next 15 minutes thereabout, I want to quickly review with us a model called RACI model. RACI model, RACI. So Blessing already introduced that to you. You use that for what we call project management and change management. Change management is also part of analytics project management in the sense that whenever there is a change, change management is a kind of management that is needed during the project deliverable. So while you're working on the project and the client say that, oh, I need this additional process to be optimized, or I need additional things. Sometimes you might go through what we call a change management phase. You understand? And that's why you also need your buffers. So when creating your project plan, something that may take you like a week, you'd want to be safe and just put 2 weeks there. Right. So your extra 1 week gives you time for reviews. It gives you time for feedback. And all those reviews and feedback also form part of what will make your deliverables very key. I mean, very rich. You understand? So the process of the buffers, you understand? Or if it's a major change on a project, you might require what we call a change management process, or we sometimes call it change management order. So, but these are things that will call for reviews and meetings with your stakeholders. So I'll just quickly touch on the RACI model. It's used for both project management and change management. And it's a very simple model. First of all, you need to know the meaning of the acronyms. The R there means responsible. So for every project detail, you need to know who is responsible. Who is responsible could also be someone from the vendor team, or it could be someone from the client's team. So like when Blessing mentioned to you, you must be able to know if Octave is the one that is responsible or if it is the client you are working with that is responsible. And it is always best. So many a times is the standard practice is just for you to put the team that is responsible, but for accountability's sake, it is also best to put in brackets the name of the team member or team members that are responsible for dealing an action. So if you notice in the Racing model, R comes first because responsibility is very key. If somebody, it's just like the tortoise story that it is everybody's business. Everybody is nobody. So if someone does not find tie every action to responsibility, who is responsible. And this model, unlike the Gantt chart that uses a pictorial form, for this model, you can use a table form. You can use your normal Excel sheet. All you just need to do is project plan details. You itemize it. Then you put R as your next column. Who is responsible? You put the team name or the organization name and the team member. Now, sometimes you might need to do a project, you might need to carry out an action that is outside the organization. The name, in such an instance, the name of the person that will be responsible will be the team member who is to follow up on the action. You understand? So for every action, there must be a responsibility. There must be someone who is responsible. So in certain instances that it seems like, oh, it's not within my purview, it's not in my job role, you would have assigned it to someone to follow up on. It might not be in your job role, but I have assigned you to follow up on that task. So you are the one responsible for it. You understand? On that project. So you need to clearly define who is responsible. Now, the A there means accountable. Now, the person who is responsible sometimes also might be the person who is accountable, but not in all cases.
Sorry, ma.
I can
Hello,
hear
ma.
you. Yes,
Ma,
I
we
can
can't
hear
see
you.
your screen, or rather, I can't see your screen.
Oh, I'm not sharing a slide. I'm not
Okay.
sharing my screen. Yeah, I'm not using a slide.
Okay,
So
ma.
just
Okay.
listen. Yeah, I can. It's just a note. I didn't develop it into. It's not a slide. So just listen and follow.
Okay,
You
that's
can
fine.
check it up online later. There are many. All you can just read up on it later, but it's something very simple and straightforward. It's called RACI model, RACI. Okay, so the A there is accountable. Who is accountable for carrying out the Hello, Tim. I'm on a training. Yeah, one round, you know. You can't interrupt it. Okay. Yeah, sorry guys. A call came in and interrupted the network. Okay, can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So the next one is accountability. Who is accountable and what is this person accountable for? So in accountability, it's better to just list the tax than to write the name. Now, because for responsibility and accountability, usually is about the same person or it might be different. But what we are particular about is what are those tasks that this. So you just list out, you enumerate the tasks. So that's that about accountable. Then consulted. Do you need to consult this action on a different person? So an action might not stop with who is responsible. So for instance, the scenario I gave on dealing an action that is outside the organization. So who is consulted would be the name of the organization that, or the name of, it might be an organization, it might be a person, it might even be a study. So do you need to consult online? Do you need to check up on certain other industries? Or do you need to do like some feasibility study around what other banks are doing and all that? So what is to be consulted? Or do you need to consult books? You understand? So what is to be consulted? You have to list that out as well under consulted. And then informed. So for every project, stakeholder management is very, very key. In fact, the success or the failure of any project largely depends on how your stakeholder perceive your project. So if your stakeholder perceive that, oh, this project is, we are not getting anything out of it, that might be a red flag for your team or for the project in general. You understand? So the informed part of RASI has to do with you scheduling reviews, meetings, managing the stakeholder, getting them informed on what is being done on the project. So for every action on your project management tasks, you need to clearly define who are the stakeholders that are interested in this action. You understand? So for a project plan, there are many artifacts that you might need to put together. Now, this RASI model has to do with managing people resource on a project. Gantt chart that Blessing spoke with you about has to do with managing time resource. So on Gantt chart, you notice that you're putting timelines, you're putting each of the project details, and you're putting timelines to it so that at every point in time within the project, you can say that this is the point we are in, and these are the things that have been done, these are the things that are yet to be done or pending. These are the ones that you are blacklisted. Why? Because you couldn't go further due to something holding you back, or due to a deliverable that a stakeholder, maybe a client or someone in the team, ought to deliver. You understand? Now, RASI model then helps you to go into detail to say, oh, these are the people responsible for delivering on the details of these tasks. These are the tasks that they should do to ensure they complete this action, right? These are the things they should consult. Have they consulted it? Have they done it? And these are the people we should inform. Have we informed them for us to say we are closing out on this tax? Do you understand? So I believe Blessing has given you details of Gantt chart, and as Gantt chart is kind of more comprehensive and uh, um, not very straightforward, because you need to explain to people how to allocate timelines, how to create it on the Gantt chart, how to put parallel tasks together and all that. But Racing model is very straightforward, and that's why I didn't really come up with this slide. It's very straightforward. It's usually done on a table sheet. So you just put it on a table on your Excel, so the same project details you have put in your Gantt chart, you can just place it as well in your Racing model and fill the columns for responsibility, accountability, consulting, and informed, and put in all the details. Right, so that's that about Racing model. So my task for you guys is that we're taking it on from where we stopped. Based on the last project or assignment that you did, now this is teamwork. You can brainstorm on it together. Based on that project that you did, I want you to go back to the drawing board and come up with, first of all, your project details action. What are so for each of your use case will form like a category on your project plan. For each of your use case, draw out actions that are to be taken. Things around data cleansing, or no, before you even get to data cleansing, things around data collation. How would you collate your data? What are the actions that you do to collating your data? Data cleansing. Then what are those actions you need to perform to do it's just fictitious, so just think of something and put there. So for each of them, write a minimum of 5. 5 is small, but I think you should be able to do like 10. So break out your use case into project details actions. Right. Now, each of these, then take your project details, put it on a Gantt chart and allocate timelines to it. Come up with a Gantt chart and also come up with a Racing model chart for it. So come up with Racing and Gantt charts on your project use cases that you have put together in the last assignment I gave you. I will share my email address with you. I would like you to submit directly to my inbox. So just send as an attachment to my email. I would review and give you feedback. And I have points allocated to it. So the last assignment I gave you was 100 marks. I don't know what I'll make this one, but just try to make it as detailed as you can and take time to do the assignment. You have till Tuesday, Wednesday next week before our next class to complete it and share it with me. Any question before we call it a day? I'd like to stop here for today.
Thank you very much, Ma. Ma, I would like you to read the assignment because I don't really get. You were mentioning that we should provide 5 to 10. I didn't really get that part.
Okay, so your project details will form your Racing model and your Gantt chart. So I said you should use the use cases in your last assignment and come up with your project details, then place it on a Gantt chart and a Racing model, and then share with me.
Okay, Ma.
Is it clear now?
Yes, Ma.
Any other feedback or comments Any other comment?
Ma, just to confirm, the 3 use cases that we used for the last assignment.
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma. So that means we'll be having about 30, something like that. Since we have 3 use cases each, and we have 10 of us, so that's about 30. And are we submitting together?
No. Just for your own use case, so you're not doing for everybody.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I
Understand now.
do Gantt chart for 3 different use cases.
Your use cases, put it on a Gantt chart, but put the project details and allocate timelines to it. Do you understand?
One Gantt chart for the 3 use cases.
Yes, just one. So on the Gantt chart, your first use case will be like the category heading. So you can have A, and then you have customer profiling use case. So under it, you can't allocate timeline to customer profiling use case. It's very verbose. You need to now put the action plans under customer profiling use case. What are those things you should do under customer profiling use case? Then allocate timeline to it. That's all. So you do that on you allocate timeline on a Gantt chart. Then on a RASI table, you allocate people responsibility to it. Technology, trolley. I don't understand what doctor is saying. Point me to the direction or go to one direct.
Yeah.
Oh no, I wasn't talking to you. The class is over. Is there any other comment, question? And then if there's none, we can end the class on this note. I'll be expecting your assignment.
All right, thank you very much.
Sorry, excuse me, ma.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
ma'am.
go on.
What's the
Yeah,
time?
I have. Hello, ma.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. I think considering 2 possible scenarios now. Let's consider an industry where they have 2 particular problems. Okay, for instance, I want to determine the kind of services I want to give some customers, and probably there's another kind of problem I want to solve. But those 2 problems might require customer profiling. I don't know if you. Yeah. So, does that mean that both of them are under just one use case, or they could
No,
still
you
be
can make them different use cases. You can say customer profiling for this, customer profiling for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, ma.
You're welcome.
I have a question also. Sorry, I have a question also. What's the timeline for this assignment?
About a week. Submit before next class. Before next week, Thursday. It's a simple, straightforward assignment now. Is it difficult?
Not at all.
Yeah. The main aspect is your your project details. So you are expanding on what you've done before. And that's what we do as well when we are trying to win a project. We have a first meeting with our potential clients, discuss with them, try to elicit from them what their analytics project need might be. Then we go back to the drawing table. We come up with proposals. So what you did last week was like a mini proposal. You understand? We come up with proposal. Upon doing that, we go for a review session with them. So during that review session, we don't share the proposals yet. We just try to talk with them having an understanding of the industry, and then tell them that, oh, these are the things we can do for you, this, that, we get feedback. Then when they now say, oh, okay, send us a proposal, we're interested in this. Before we send you the proposal, we'll sign a non-disclosure agreement with you, and then we'll send you the proposal. Or on sending you proposal, if we go in, win the project, we then share with you a project plan. So this is like a miniature project plan you want to come up with now. It's just for you to be wide in your thinking as to seeing analytics as a project, not as a competition like we have online, like a one-off thing. No, it's something that lasts for some time. It has a life cycle. Analytics deliverables have life cycle. So for you to deliver something rich, something of quality, and something that meets your client demands, you need to put in all of these processes.
Ma'am, thank you very much for the class, ma'am. But in order for us to meet your demand and your needs, ma'am, we would like if actually you can just maybe give us enough time with the timeline. Maybe you can add maybe because we have some other assignment given by Mr. Blessing and some other lab project that we have not completed. So if actually you can just help us out with the timeline, ma'am.
Okay, fine. How much time do you need?
Just maybe 2 weeks. Maybe the next class we'll finish it up.
Okay, that's fine then.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. Yeah, let's call it a day. Bye, everyone.
A day. Bye, ma.
How do you have access to your email?
Oh, okay. Let me send that on chat to you now. Okay. Do you all have it now? I've
Yes,
sent
ma'am.
it on the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You can feel free to ask questions or clarifications. Okay. I mean, you can send me an email for questions or clarifications if you need any. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, ma. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Bye, ma. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Yeah, God no.
Have a wonderful day, ma. Yeah.
Thank you, Toby.
Thank you, Obibe.
Bye bye, ma'am.
Thank
Have
you
a
very
nice day,
much,
ma'am.
ma.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Marvella.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Solomon, for the extension. Thank you, Esther. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye,
You guys should
everybody.
prepare for your engineering class. God bless you. The
Amen.
best class, the best class
Engineering on
is
the
Octave,
way.
Octave Analytics GTP.
Yeah, so
And can you send PDF of your textbook for the next class?
All right, don't worry. You get it on the group chat.
Okay, thank you very much.
Not a picture.
What did you say?
I know about the PDF, but not a picture.
A picture that is converted to PDF now. You know how you do this.
I don't have the app. That's the problem too.
You can always
you
download
can,
now. It's just how many MB?
you can do it online. So guys, I'm leaving, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you all.
All right.
Sleep
Bye.
early for the next class.